Tonight at 10 o'clock, you're going to find out if the sun's going to come out this weekend. Sven's coming up with your forecast. And in the extra this evening, imagine pedaling your bike from Minnesota to Washington, D.C. Why one woman did it and what she hopes to accomplish now. Plus, this may look like your typical bike ride, but it's not. What this woman is doing could one day have a direct impact on your life. Riding a bike is great exercise, and for most folks, it's a lot of fun. But what if you had to ride all the way from Minnesota to Washington, D.C.? Kind of takes the fun out of it for a lot of folks. Well, one Minneapolis woman decided to do just that to honor a special person in her life. And as Kare 11's Roxanne Battle explains in the Extra tonight, this monumental effort may end up saving others.
She was just full of fire. I mean, right from the moment she was born.
42-year-old Kristin Tabor loved her older sister Susie the way a lot of sisters do.
We just had an exceptionally close friendship and made each other laugh. This was their honeymoon picture, and of course she couldn't help herself.
Susie, it seems, was always laughing.
There's my sister Susie with her two best friends. She called the Peppermint Patties. About 4 or 5 months before she died.
4 years ago, Susie died from colon cancer. She was 46 years old. She left behind a husband and 3 children.
Broke my heart. I'll never forget the call.
What transpired?
That she said, I have cancer, and I think I'll never forget the call from her husband when he was crying so hard I couldn't understand him, because he said, you better come now. And I don't want that to happen to another family. I don't want another 7-year-old left behind.
Kristin organized Get Your Rear in Gear, a walk in honor of her sister, first in her sister's hometown of Seattle, and then again here. And now, if that wasn't enough.
I have had my moments where I thought I was going to go insane because I had to get up to over 100 miles on my bike, and that meant that I was going absolutely nowhere indoors for 6 hours.
After months of indoor conditioning, she packed up her SUV, her family, and her bike for a 1,300-mile cross-country bicycle trek from Minneapolis to Washington, D.C. to raise awareness for the disease that took her sister.
The lesson there is colon cancer can happen to anybody. And at any age. It's not just a disease that affects people that are over 50. How many of you, can you raise your hands, want to go to the doctor and find out there's something wrong with you? How many of you would do it if you knew that you could get screened and save your life? That's the message I want to bring to you all.
A message she planned to bring to many small towns along the way, starting here in La Crescent.
Being able to go through small town America and talk to communities across the U.S. and hopefully increase their awareness. That's what life is all about.
With fellow cyclist Mark Biedenbender lending support for the first leg of the trip, and her husband and children inching along the entire way in the family SUV, Kristin embarked on the ride of her life.
Feeling pretty good. I've only got about 1,204 miles to go. It'll be a celebration when I hit Iowa.
Down through Illinois and onto Kentucky.
When I got into Kentucky, there was just a whole myriad of dogs. I was not afraid of the mountains. I was not afraid of the hills. It became like a nonstop, how am I gonna make sure I don't get my leg chewed off by a dog?
I'm not going to Disneyland after this.
There was wind and heat and hills, grueling slopes and valleys, real-life metaphors reminding Kristin of her sister Susie and her reason why.
Every time I went up those hills, I thought, it's nothing in comparison to what they have to go through. And I definitely had a number of those moments on the bike ride where, you know, I was just kind of reconnecting with her.
After 2 weeks of her own March Madness, Kristin arrived in Washington, D.C.
Sure. Very cool. I can work out.
It is. Oh, yeah.
Where she received praise and a promise from Senator Norm Coleman.
I will work with you.
Thank you.
I wish you
To fight colon cancer, a disease, if caught early, is 100% curable.
Any young patient should be well aware of persistent bleeding, unexplained weight loss, problems with obstruction, abdominal pain. Those things should not be brushed off and attributed to hemorrhoids and should be looked at more closely.
I couldn't believe it was over. This may sound really strange, but I didn't feel like it was enough. You don't feel like you can possibly do enough when you love somebody.
Roxanne Battle, Kare 11 News.
And the Get Your Rear in Gear race is this weekend at Lake Harriet. If you'd like some more information, you can log on to Kare11.com and click on featured links or extras. Well, whether you're going to go out and do the bike race or you just want to get outside a little bit, you need to know the details for the weekend forecast. Sven Sundgaard's out in the backyard with that information for us. Hey, Sven.
Hi. Yeah, you know, tomorrow might be the good day